Hi everybody and welcome to Bob's O-Gauge Trains. I certainly do have a very special video for you guys this week. I was lucky enough about 2 months ago to come across the locomotive that a good friend was selling. He was upgrading his equipment and decided to sell this locomotive. It's a very famous locomotive in the real model world and the real train world and everywhere else in between. So when it became available, I had to jump on it. This is Southern Railroad number 4501. It's a Mikado. It's a 282 wheel configuration. It was from Southern Railroad. This is a very, very, very special locomotive for a number of reasons, especially both in the real world, which I'll tell you about, and in the model world. There's so many unique things about this model. It's not only about the locomotive you have, it's about the history and the story it tells, and this locomotive tells a great story. This was originally made a long time ago, actually, by Lionel, but it was made by Mike Wolfe for Lionel. Now, I don't know anything about the original owner of this locomotive, but this locomotive was found and picked up by a good friend of mine, believe it or not, in an antique shop. It was inoperable. It was just kind of sitting on the shelf, being a shelf queen. And he decided to pick it up and try and get it restored and running again, which he was able to do. And I've seen it several times, and it's a gorgeous locomotive. And when it became available to me, I had to grab it. So this locomotive has been through a number of changes. It is currently equipped with TMCC. I'm kind of on the fence. For history's sake, I might leave it TMCC. I might have it upgraded to Legacy. I'm not sure. I'm actually, believe it or not, thinking about leaving it exactly the way it is for history. And it has a heck of a story. It's a great locomotive. I'm proud to have it in my fleet. Since I came across the locomotive, I bought 5 passenger cars to go with it. The cars are MTH. They're beautiful cars. I just have to take them apart and glue some little people in them and put them back together. But for now, they're fine just the way they are. I also picked up a Southern caboose. And I originally had 5 or 6 Sinclair Weaver tank cars. They don't really have any significance to the locomotive itself, but they're kind of on the green side, fairly close to the same color. So I mean, it makes a cool looking train, very appealing looking train. And I have the luxury of running either freight or passenger with this locomotive. And I've actually done both, and it's a very welcome addition. It's going to be very at home in my collection. So I hope you enjoy today's video on the Southern 4501. So sit back, grab a cold drink, a snack to eat, and enjoy the Southern Railroad number 4501. And here she is in all her beauty. Southern Railroad's number 4501. It is a 282 designated Mikado locomotive. This was the Southern Railroad's very first Mikado in 1911. In the 1940s, it began to show up after several years of being pretty obscure and not really run too much. It showed up on the Southern lines out of Princeton, and it was pushed into freight service from mainline to local service as bigger and more modern power came along. But over the course of her lifetime, 4501 has received a bunch of upgrades. Up in 1948, she was set aside and purchased by a short line called the Kentucky and Tennessee, which hauled coal to an interchange in southern Stearns, Kentucky. In 1964, Chattanooga, Tennessee enthusiast Paul Merriman purchased the locomotive, and he and his friend Robert Sewell made a deal with the Southern Railroad vice president to move the engine to Chattanooga under its own power. The public gave a really great reaction to this. Everybody wants to see a steamer, and it made a 150-mile trip, which prompted Claytor to organize a company to support an overhaul and make excursions with the engine in 1966. For roughly 28 years, the Southern Railroad and a host of other steam engines powered Southern excursions across the system from Washington, D.C. to Jacksonville, Florida, New Orleans, St. Louis, Cincinnati. On special occasions, the locomotive pulled other excursions on other areas in the Southern Railroad. Eventually, it ended up basically on display until 2011. Basically 100 years after she was born and built. When Norfolk Southern revived some of its own steam engines, the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum began overhauling the engine. Two significant upgrades happened during that rebuild. One, the engine got a stoker, and two, it got a feed water heater. It's placed on the top of the smoke box. Number 4501 was completed in 2015 and pulled excursions that summer and fall. Since then, 4501 and Southern Railway 280 number 630 have pulled Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum on-site trains and excursions on its short line partner to Chickamauga, Georgia and Somerville, Georgia. So this locomotive has definitely seen a lot of history. She has a great story to tell all of us. It's one of the most famous steam locomotives in the United States and in America. And I'm very, very proud to have it as a recent part in my collection. So she's a very welcome guest. And, well, she won't really be a guest. She's going to be a permanent resident at Bob's O-Gauge Trains and be very happy on my layout. So I hope you all enjoy. Now let's get to running some trains and get to see her in action. She's a beautiful looking locomotive.
Dispatcher here. Please hold for track orders. Over. Roger that. Out. Dispatcher here. You're cleared onto the main. Over. Roger that. All clear. Out. How's that track look? Are we clear? Over. Affirmative. The track is yours. Over. Roger that. All clear. Out.
Thanks for watching, everybody. It's always a pleasure to bring these videos to you. It's fun for me to do them. And I hope you enjoy them. And if you're not careful, you may learn something on the way. But the main thing is to bring something enjoyable for everybody to watch. Without your support, I wouldn't have a channel. So I thank each and every one of you for watching, supporting, commenting on my channel. I appreciate every one of you. I've been thinking of a little project that I want to do. I started this channel August 19th was the first video release. And since then I've gotten some comments from several folks, believe it or not, outside the United States. I've heard from a gentleman in Germany. I've heard from a gentleman in United Kingdom. I've heard from a gentleman in Vietnam. And I hear quite often from a gentleman in Mexico. I haven't talked to them yet, so I don't want to say their names on camera yet. But I want to do something special for anybody that watches my channel that is from outside the country, from an international area. So if you are interested in joining the tribute, I have a couple ideas, but I'm not too sure what I'm going to go with. If you are interested in getting involved with the special tribute to my international viewers, please drop me an email. My email address is in the description. If you let me know where you're from, your name, how you want to be known as on the channel, if you just want me to mention your first name, or if you have a YouTube channel or an Instagram channel or something. But if you're from anywhere outside the US and you want to be included in a special tribute I plan on doing for my international viewers, please drop me a line at my email and let me know who you are. If there was anybody I forgot to mention, I apologize, but I've heard from quite a few people, and gives me a nice feeling to know that people around the world are kind of watching the channel here and there. So like I said, please do drop me an email at the email I have listed in the description below, and we're going to put this together, something special and really cool for international viewers. Thank you for watching today's video on the Southern 4501. It was a pleasure to do. This engine has become a very special part of my collection, so I thank you for watching. As usual, everybody, if you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button, visit my Instagram, it's Bob's O Gauge Trains. Feel free to leave a comment. Believe it or not, I've got a lot of suggestions, and some of the videos and some of the things I've done have been a direct result of things you guys have suggested. So please feel free to leave a comment. I like hearing from each and every one of you. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I want to wish everybody well. Take care of yourself, stay safe, and take care.